Hello guys, welcome back to the shop. And today's video I'm going to be attempting to remove some things out of this pro circuit pipe, and then at the end of the video I'll give you some of the things that I found out about pipes throughout the years, things that you should do to them or shouldn't do to them that can affect the power of the pipe, and what pipes you should choose and why. But these pipes are getting expensive nowadays. I remember like around the year 2000 you could pick up a pipe for $159. They're creeping on like $230, $240, $250 now. So being able to remove things like little dings and dents, I'm going to remove this one today, or attempt to, and remove that one as well. You know, being able to do that is can save you some money, especially when you start really collecting up a lot of dings and dents, or you get a really big one. And after I do that pro circuit pipe, I'm going to give this one a shot. If I have the tools to do this one, I'm going to try to. These can be tough sometimes when you have a sharp edge like that, but you can usually always at least make it better. So I have been warned by the guy Ross that owns this pipe that there's a little leak. There might be a leak here, and that can hold us up from doing this repair. Because what we're going to be doing here, I use these what do they call these things? Freeze plugs. Here we go. I found one on eBay to give you an idea what they are, where you can get them at. You can just order them off eBay. Call them rubber extension plug, rubber freeze plug, exhaust pressure test plug. But this is it. You're gonna, every pipe has a different size. For the YZ250, for the small end, the stinger end, or the outlet, the exhaust outlet, that's just looks like it's measured just over an inch. So this is probably a 1-inch plug. And then for the intake side of the exhaust, if I remember correct, I don't remember the size of this one, and I remember I had to shave some meat off of it to get it to work, but I got it at just a little over 1.5 inches. So I remember one size was too big, one size was too small, so all I did was just shaved some meat off the one that was a little bit too big, and I did a pretty crappy job, as you can see. And this was done, sorry, I had to think about that for a second. 16 years ago. I made this 16 years ago. And I have not done this in probably a good 10 years. I have not removed any dents from any of these pipes. Now, I do want to mention too that this also works on 4-stroke exhaust pipes as well, the header pipe. I have done them as well, even titanium pipes. You have to use, basically, you have to use MAP gas. So you're going to need MAP gas. Propane does not get it hot enough, especially titanium. But it won't even get a 2-stroke pipe hot enough. It does have to be MAP gas. MAP gas does get hotter. And then what I did with these plugs is I took one of these Schrader valves or whatever that it's meant for. I don't know what kind of rim or wheel this is made for. I can't remember. Again, I put this together 16 years ago. I just know I walked into an auto parts store. I found one that was really long that had this round end on this end of it. And I had to shave this part of it right here. You see the hole right here in the middle, but I shaved this part, so it fits in the hole right. And I drilled a hole here, drilled a hole to the rubber, kind of like that. And you would think it would leak, but as soon as you tighten this down, it squeezes the rubber, which makes the rubber get fatter this way as it's squeezing it down that way, and it seals. It'll seal that passage out. It'll seal that off. It'll seal it all off. So. Yeah, and then you're going to need propane, and obviously you're going to need air pressure. We're going to be pumping about 50 psi into the pipe. You're also going to want some safety glasses for certain. I've never had one of these pop open, but my brother warned me, be safe. Don't let them, like, if you get it too hot with too much pressure, it could just bust open, and you don't want hot metal flying all on your face. But if you do have that happen, geez, you better have at least some glasses on so you can see what you're doing. Alright, so let me get the pipe off here, and we're going to first work on this and knock out them 2 little dings. Oh, by the way, for you guys trying to figure out what size plugs you'll need if you're doing it on a different type of pipe, you could use a set of calipers and measure the inside diameter. But like I said, this does work on 4-stroke headers as well. I have removed dents and dings out of 4-stroke headers. I've even done it on street bike headers before. But yeah, you just put the rubber plug in here. It's kind of a tight fit. Let me loosen her up a little bit. Alright, I even put a little bit of WD-40 lube in it. I know that kind of works against us because we want it to stay in there, but I got to get it in there. And like I said, it's a tight fit. There we go. Once you get it in there, you just tighten it up, and that'll lock it in. Oh, it's spinning the whole thing. Let me hit it with the impact. That'll twist it in. There we go. Alright, let me finish tightening it by hand because I really want to feel how tight I have it. You'll see the rubber is kind of bulging out right here. But that's fine as long as it locks in. There we go. Let's do the other side. Let me try loosening this one up a little bit more. There we go. Alright, got that in there. Tighten her up. Again, if the whole thing spins, you can use the impact to get it started. And then you can use a wrench a ratchet like I'm using here so you can feel how tight you have it. I'm going to put this side pretty tight because I don't want it blasting out on me. And always be careful when you do this. They can come out, and when they come out, they shoot out. So have them pointed away from you as you're heating up the pipe. I have had one shoot out. It shot off over into past the neighbor's yard, and I don't know where it went. Never found it. Alright, from this point on, I will be wearing safety glasses. You want to put about 50 psi into the pipe. I already hear a leak. No, that was just from the... That's okay. Now I'm going to sit here and watch it for a second, just see if I got any major leaks. Looks like it's going down a little bit. Let me go ahead and tighten them up a little bit more. Oh, that thing's stuck here. Actually, let me tighten it up a little bit more. And even if you have a slow leak, it's okay. It just means you got to monitor the pressure. Keep it up. I've gone as high as 60 psi. I highly do not suggest going higher than 60. Okay, I got it 50 now. Like I said, I start at 50 psi. It does, as you know, heat makes air expand, so it will go higher than 50 as we're doing this job. Oh boy. But I just start at 50. And this is all I do. Wait till you get it nice and hot. Again, you want to make sure that the plug end pieces are facing away from you in case one shoots out. It's not going to surprise you and hit you. It can take a while, but you gotta get her glowing red. Let me shut off my light so we can see as she gets red. It's almost hard to see as it pops out when it gets red. You kind of want to work around the edges because the edges are what is actually holding the dent inward. It's not so much the center. That's not what's holding it in. It's the edges. So you want to work around the edges. Let me turn the light on and see where we're at. She's ever so slightly coming out. And notice that anywhere you see a sharp edge, that's usually a spot that's holding her down. And I noticed it had a sharp edge on this side, so that's why I'm trying to get that side nice and toasty. Alright, let me turn my light on and see where we're at. Getting there, but slowly. But that's good. Easy does it. This does take time. Let's see where we're at now. It's just coming out slowly. Like I said, it does take time. In a minute, I'll check the pressure. If the pressure is not good, you can heat all day long and nothing's going to happen. All right, I'll take a break and check the pressure. All right, back at it. I pumped the pressure up to 55. It's holding pressure good, but I pumped it up to 55 just to give us a little boost. Like I said, I've taken it as high as 60. Again, I'm no professional at this, by the way. This is not what I do for a living, promise you. And again, I haven't did it in 10 years, so I'm gonna give it my best shot here. It is time consuming because it does move out slowly and you got to kind of work the heat around the edge of it. You don't want to just sit there and drill at the center. The edge is part of the crease, which is part of the dent. Future self here. If you're watching this video and you see that it doesn't seem to be working so good on the Pro Circuit pipe, it's been a long time since I've done this and I failed to remember that your pinhole dents are some of your hardest because it bends the metal, and that's why, I mean, even though I popped them out and made them a little bit flusher and definitely better, it didn't, you know, it's not showing the full potential of using heat to fix big dents especially. And you'll see, like on this one right here, I got this dent on this pipe right here pretty much all the way out. I mean, you got a couple little ripples in it, but the dent's all the way out for the most part. Now down here you'll see that this was a little bit tougher because of this tight spot right here, but this pipe was destined to be trashed, and you can see that it's actually usable now. That dent's pretty much completely gone, and this is just wavy right here, but at least it's not pressed in anymore. So stay tuned as I show you how I did this. All right, we're slowly getting there. As you can see, there's just a little ripple to it now. That's about all. It's not so much a dent anymore, it's just kind of like a ripple. Sometimes that last little bit can be hard to get out, but I'm going to keep working at it, see if I can get it just a little bit flatter than that. Okay, we got that one pretty much done. It still has just a little bit of a ripple to it. And that happens sometimes when the dent actually causes a stretch of the metal. You can get it pretty close, and at least you'll gain your performance back if there was any to be lost. But it's not quite the dent that, it's hard to get it with this light here. It's not quite the dent that it was earlier. It's just more kind of like a ripple. We're going to work on this one right here. I don't know if I'm going to have much luck on this one because it looks more like a stretch dent, but let me see if I can at least smoothen it out a little bit, and then we're going to try that old nasty pipe up there. Back at it again. Going to try to get this little one out. Really, these were kind of too small to even work on, but that's okay. Alright, got it outside here so you can see this one that was a dent. It's now just a little dimple, and that's just just because of, you know, when you get hit like that, it kind of stretches the metal, but at least you can flatten it out and get rid of the concave part so that you get the proper pipe size, you know, and the performances. And this one too, if you go back to the beginning of the video, you can see how bad they originally were, and you can see that it's just like a ripple now. That's all it is. You can see it's just a little ripple. That's all it is. But at least the performance will come back. If there was any loss in performance, probably not. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set up the other pipe. Let's see if we can pop them out on that nasty thing. Oh boy, well here we go. My plug didn't work on this end, so I just rigged this up. Over here my plug worked, however we do have a slow leak on the weld that was done over here. Very slow little pin leak. So what I did is I have my air connected to it permanently there on a regulator set at 50 psi, and now to keep it at 50 psi as the air slowly leaks out. So yeah, we're rigging it here, but alright, let's get some heat to this thing and see what happens. See what happens. See how good we can get this one. That might be hard with these welds here, but we'll give it a shot. This one's actually coming out super easy, which is nice. And this is how they usually go. My YZ250 pipe that I showed you, them smaller dings are sometimes really the hardest. But this one, seriously, I've only been on it. I paused the video for a second there, but honestly, I've only been on this for maybe a minute and a half. It's already just popping out. So I'm just going to let the camera run while I keep on working at it, just so you can see. It's usually not as hard as the YZ250 pipe that I did with the pin dings. When they're bigger dings like this, a lot of times they just kind of pop out pretty easily. That one's actually almost done. I'm going to keep working at it a little bit more. Alright, let me take a look at it. That one's pretty much near perfect. I'll show you at the end. I don't want to move the pipe around right now because of how I have it all rigged up. But let me go ahead and start working on this one right here. This one's going to be more difficult because of the welds. The welds hold a little bit more strength, but we're going to give it a shot. Let's see what happens. I'll go ahead and pause the video as I preheat her here. The camera keeps overheating as I'm doing this, but let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm using double heat. One of these is just propane, just to kind of keep the heat going along, but the dent is coming out. I'll pause it while I keep working on it. And I'm still working at it. Like I said, it is coming out, so that's good. I don't expect this to be perfect. That one came out pretty much perfect. After I polish it, you're probably hardly going to be able to tell there was ever a dent there, and that's always nice when it works like that. But whenever it has like this one where you can see there's like creases in it, the best you can do is just pop it out. It won't, cosmetically you'll still kind of tell there used to be a dent there, but at least the bike will still perform like the pipe never had a dent in there, and that's kind of the goal here. As you can see, again, I'm using 2 torches, mainly just to help spread the heat because these dents are so big. But yeah, I'll keep working at it. Let me pause the video. Okay, so like I mentioned, it's been years since I've done this, and I forgot that it doesn't work as well on your real sharp, just straight dents like that because of the sharp. It kind of stretches the metal, and you can't re-shrink the metal. All you can do is flat. You know, if it's dented in, you can flatten it back out or pull it back out, but you can't if it's stretched, you can't unstretch it, and that's what this was. But it at least pushed it back out, even though you can see where the original hit was right here in the center. And it actually did a better job on the one here in the bottom. It's just a very, very mild now, where it was actually pretty pronounced if you look at the beginning of the video. Now it's just that where you can see where it hit in the center, so it kind of flattened that out. But on the big pipe here, I mean not the big pipe, the big dent, that one right there, it pretty much fixed that one 100%. I mean, it popped that one out, and fast too. It just came right out because there was no welds or anything, and there was no sharp edges. It was just a solid push in. So, and I like it when it's like that. And this this pipe was destined for the trash, honestly. But it looks like it could be a good pipe store, or at least a backup pipe. Again, the sharp edges. Anytime you can see where that was a hard, nasty hit, and I can't really get rid of the sharp edge. But what I was able to do was push it back out, or pull it back out with the heat, and that'll make it where it at least has the same volume. As it might not look as good as a new pipe or pipe that's never been dented before, but it'll at least have the same volume, and I bet you it'll perform exactly the same because it's not dented in anymore. It's just a little wavy but not dented in. That it's always nice when that happens. The point is, what I'm trying to say is, if you dent your pipe before you trash it, or just rush out and buy a new one, if a little bit of heat, you might be able to pop the dent out. I've been able to do it even on 4-stroke header pipes. So that's my best example for today, was this one right here. That one came out perfect. This one right here, that was a tough one. I knew it was going to be. I did the best I could, and that came out better. So not so much this one, but definitely the one down here. So there you go. If you have dents on your pipe and you're looking to remove them, sorry that it wasn't a better example. This is the only good example, but this does work. I know in the past I've tried putting water in them and put them in the freezer. I heard online you can put water in, put it in the freezer, and as the water freezes, it'll expand and it'll push the dent out. I cracked about 3 pipes trying that out myself. It would crack them right at the seam or split them right open. I even tried, I thought, well, maybe I'm just letting too much water get too frozen. So I tried the whole pulling it out, putting it in, pulling it, kind of like slowly letting it expand, and I still cracked the pipe. After about the 3rd pipe, I gave up on that method, and then I started doing the torch way with air pressure. So yeah, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I'd talk a minute about pipes. What you want to look for in a pipe. One thing I do know about pipes is a bare metal pipe is going to perform better than a pipe that's either been painted or chrome plated. There's a reason why back when everyone was racing 2-strokes, every pro racer you seen on the track had a what they call the works pipe, or bare finish or unfinished pipe, like the Pro Circuit Works pipe, the FMF race pipe, the Bills pipes, and stuff like that. And they were always bare finish. Because they did realize that it does produce a little more power, and the reason being is because of the reflective characteristics of the pipe. If you know anything about pipes, the exhaust pressure shoots through here, and it sends a resonance or a noise at the same time, and it bounces off this back wall. And at the same time that it's coming through here, the piston will be on the next exhaust stroke, and it'll start pulling. It'll be a negative pressure pulling as your previous exhaust stroke is hitting this and bouncing back. Or I might not be saying it right, but you understand what I'm saying. It bounces it back, and it'll start pulling in a little bit of fresh charge, the air-fuel ratio in here, right when that wave comes back and pushes that fresh charge that probably makes it to right about here into the cylinder, and it force feeds the cylinder like a turbo. And that's where you get the on the pipe feeling, or when you get in the power band, that's where that comes from. But the better that this pipe can reflect back here, that resonance, this is called the stinger. Or I'm sorry, that might be the stinger. This is the cone, I can't remember. But the better that this part right here reflects it back, the more of a power band you're going to get, or being on the feeling of getting on the pipe, the more power it's going to make. Years ago, I was only using stock YZ250 pipes, and I would notice that anytime I would put a new pipe on, I'd pull off an old pipe and put a new pipe on, even if they were completely identical, no dents. Just one's been used for about a year, the other one was brand new. The new one would always seem crisper and make more power and sound better, more like zingier and like had more of that two-stroke just crispness to sound to it. And the reason being is because the inside of the pipe was also clean. It didn't have a carbon build. Sorry about that, got interrupted with a phone call. But anyway, so carbon buildup builds up in here, and it actually kind of dampens that reflectiveness that reflects and force feeds the motor. So that's why I would find when I put a brand new pipe on, it would sound better and make more power because there wasn't a carbon buildup in the pipe. But the same thing that causes that reflectiveness also, just like carbon can dampen that reflectiveness, so can paint on a pipe, and so can a chrome finish. So that is why a bare pipe actually performs the best. You can typically tell which bikes perform the best, pipes perform the best, considering they're the same profile, just by tapping on them. The more tingier they are when you tap on it, the better it's going to perform, you know? You hear that one? How that one's a little bit tingier? And that's a better performing pipe than the stock pipe, obviously, but it is a different profile, too. See, that one already just sounds a little more dampened. But the stock pipe is a heavier steel, and also heavier steel dampens it more. Pro Circuit pipe is a very, very thin steel. They dent really easily, but man, they sound so good and so tingy, and they make really good power. And that's why they do that with these race pipes. They usually make them out of very thin metal with no chrome and no paint or anything, so they perform the best. The Pro Circuit race pipe, FMF race pipe, they brag about having thinner steel back here for better performance and for lighter weight, and then having thicker steel just up here at the head for reliability, for strength, and for good reason, because like the KX250 from 05 to 07 was known for cracking its pipe somewhere around here. So some bikes do crack their pipes eventually right around this area, so that's why they started making them thick there. And you can have it thick here and not really affect performance. Where you really want it thin is, I would say, from this area back, where you need that the resonance to be reflected back. So if you're looking for performance, go with a bare finish pipe, a works pipe like this one here, or the FMF race pipe, or any of your other brands that have a bare finish. If you're looking for something that looks good and it's less maintenance, because these are more maintenance, they will rust if you don't spray them with WD-40 after the bike gets wet. Like when you wash it, you got to spray it with, and even then, I do that with this one, and you can see even then it's a little bit brown looking. So if you're more concerned about looks, get the chrome plated pipe. If you're more concerned about performance, get the bare finish pipe. And if you paint your pipe, you can pretty much expect your performance to drop a little bit. Like some people like to take the stock pipes and repaint them black, and that will, the paint that they use on them stock is very, very thin, and it doesn't really. I mean, it is a thin paint, but if you use like your rattle can spray paint, it's a thicker paint, and it's going to dampen the resonance of the pipe a little bit, and you're going to lose a little bit of performance by doing that. Also, pipe guards. Years ago, I had a carbon fiber pipe guard, and I would notice anytime I would put it, I would only put it on when I went to certain places where the pipe had a risk of getting dented, and I would notice that I had less performance anytime I put the pipe guard on, and it just wasn't performance quite as good, and you could hear that it wasn't quite as tingy sounding and crisp sounding. And then I'd pull the pipe guard off, and the power the whole thing would liven up and become crisper and tingier sounding and just cleaner running. So your pipe guards will dampen performance, paint will dampen performance, and so will chrome plated pipes. So that's what I have to say about that. And another area that, like I mentioned just a minute ago, that you lose performance is when carbon starts building up in the pipe. They'll start building up in here and all through here, and it'll start making even this hole on this end become a little bit smaller as it builds up carbon in here, and that does rob performance. The oils that I found, one oil that I found that does it really bad is Castor 927, Maxima Castor 927. It cakes up the power valves and it cakes up the exhaust pipe. Yes, it does lubricate the motor real well, and it's a good oil as far as prolonging the life of your crank and your piston, or at least controlling the wear. but it's bad in the aspect that it just clobbers the freaking power valves, and it just builds up in the pipe, and it does smell really good too, especially when you mix it with like C12, VP-C12. But your pipe the performance of your pipe will drop dramatically pretty quickly when you use Caster 927. Some of the oils that I've found that does help keep your exhaust pipe clean and your power valve pretty much perfectly clean is the Maxima Formula K2 and the Yamalube 2R, also Multol 800. Them are probably the 3 oils that I highly recommend. This Yamalube's super clean. You don't even, with this stuff, either of these 3, this one, the Yamalube and the Multol 800, you don't really have to clean your power valves. All you got to do is remove the cover and hit it with brake cleaner, and you'll notice they look brand new again just by hitting it with brake cleaner. They don't carbonize in the power valve area. So, and also in your pipe, you'll get a little bit of carbon buildup, but it's not bad and it's not much, especially when you compare it to Caster 927. So you're gonna want to stick with a good synthetic 2-cycle oil that does not build a whole lot of carbon, and I know that these 3 that I just mentioned are good for. Well, that's pretty much everything for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm currently up to 616 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you guys out there. If you like this kind of stuff, please click subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, please click like. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a good evening, and hope to see you guys out there later.